What is up, what is up, what is up? Welcome back to another live stream, guys, here on the channel. Good to be back with you all. Hope everybody has been doing good. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear, and we're going to kick it off as always. Let me know how everybody has been doing and where everybody's tuning in from. We're going to go and analyze the markets again. It's been a slow start to the week so far. Not too much going on besides a nice overall EURUSD long position that played out pretty clean. I'm going to dive into that one in a sec, but for the rest, I hope everybody can hear me loud and clear. By the way, in the chat of this live stream, I've pinned a link to the Discord. Make sure to join there if you're not in yet. And yeah, that's pretty much where we share value throughout the entire day and where we are all active with market updates and everything. So let's see if we can make some money. But obviously, yeah, the markets have been slow as of this London session today on the 23rd of September. Holiday in the south of France. Have fun, DP. UK, Michelle, good to see you. What's up, Matthew? Hope you're doing good. We have South Sudan in the building. I have Motivator asking me about AUD USD, which I'm going to dive into in a second. Slow start to the week, mate. Have you not seen what the Nasdaq did yesterday? All new time high. Yes, Pat. I'm just not too focused on Nasdaq, mainly referring to the major dollar pairs that have been pretty slow and not really moving too much. Obviously, yesterday we did see somewhat of a move up and some dollar weakness, but overall nothing too much. Obviously, crypto made a massive dumping towards the downside as well. But we'll dive into that in a second, with gold obviously also pushing up higher. But tuning in here from Amsterdam, as always, guys, good to see everyone back. Don't forget to leave a like on the stream. As always, it's always highly appreciated. And then from there, we will just dive in. So, guys, a few things today. We're going to start off, obviously, by analyzing the major dollar pairs, see what has been going on, looking at what we're checking or what we're waiting for. For the rest, we're going to also answer a few questions that you guys might have, dive into some of your pairs, obviously, as well. And then next to that, yeah, a little update from my side, what I've been doing, what I've been working on. As you know, pretty much throughout the beginning of September, my month was already done. I've made my profits already, and now I'm pretty much just chilling and waiting for the next month to start. So I'm not too pressured to take positions, not really trading on live capital, mainly just on, yeah, focused on passing some additional challenges. So that for me is now yeah, pretty much just the focus. Goedendag. Hello, man, looking like AI. Oh shit. How can I make myself look a little bit more human, Jod? Now, let's start off with looking at EURUSD, and then I'm also going to look at GBPUSD and AUD USD. So if you're watching this back, or if anybody in the chat, guys, asks about the dollar pairs, just tell them, yeah, to check out the beginning of the stream pretty much. Now, starting off with EURUSD, I don't think I need to explain too much, as we're still pretty much in the same overall phase. Now, euro dollar has been trading in towards the upside for, yeah, let's say months now, right? Throughout the entirety of the year, EURUSD has been in towards the highs. Now, we're in a clear uptrend where we had a impulsive phase, right? So this here was in the impulsive phase. Then we had the overall pullback phase start, and now we're back within the overall impulsive phase here on EURUSD, where the overall trend remains in towards the upside. So the overall trend on euro is definitely in towards the upside, and what we can clearly see here is that we got a break of structure on this high. Now, when the market breaks structure and breaks a high, what do we expect? We expect an overall retracement to take place. However, what do we need in order to see an overall retracement? We need to see an overall change of character. Now, where is the change of character low here positioned on EURUSD? It's on top of this low over here. So shorts overall for euro would only make sense for me once that low were to break, and then maybe we could look for a short, for example, back down towards this liquidity low or towards this liquidity low over here. For the rest, EURUSD remains bullish with this sub for the buy over here, still as an area of demand that has the potential to push the market up higher. Now, what you'll often see with kind of like these little bumps in the road, I like to call them, right? So, for example, when we look at this as an impulse up, and in the future, we can see that the price action that we, for example, had over here is very similar to the price action that we've had over here, right? So this piece of, let's say, consolidation is kind of like this piece of consolidation, and this little bump in the road could potentially be what we are forming at the moment before what is then the next impulse up, that could come, right? So in that sense, EURUSD is kind of replicating the previous price action that we've seen. And after breaking the market structure, we see a pullback. Now, at the time, again, the overall demand zone here remained in control, pushed the market up higher. And for now, the overall demand zone remains in control with the fractal low being respected. So it doesn't make sense at all to look for EURUSD shorts, in my opinion. And for now, EURUSD should continue pushing up higher. But what we have to take into account is that the dollar index, as we can see on the dollar index chart, has been trading in a descending channel in towards the downside. So one low, second low, and then here a fake out on that second low where we have a clear liquidity grab. The dollar overall has a pretty much a rangy price action here with massive amounts of descending highs. So it is definitely possible that the dollar could head up higher. Now, I get a lot of questions. Fabio, you do not know what you're talking about, because if you say that the dollar goes up, that means that EURUSD should go down and that EURUSD cannot go up. Yes, that is 100% correct. I'm not a fucking idiot. I know that as well. But what you need to understand is that there is still potential here for the dollar index to push up higher. As if we zoom out on the monthly time frame, we can clearly see that we're around that third trend line touch. We're inside an area of monthly demand, so it makes sense to look for potential longs here on the dollar index. Also, if you look at the weekly time frame, you can clearly see, maybe the monthly time frame is a little bit more clear. You can clearly see that on the monthly time frame, we just swiped this overall previous low, and now we're seeing a bullish reaction. So it's perfectly possible that now we start seeing a push up, but EURUSD simply doesn't align from a technical perspective with looking for any shorts, at least kind of like from my strategy perspective. So then what I do is that if I see that there is potential, for example, for the dollar to head up higher, what do? I look at pairs that do align with my overall bias, such as, for example, a GBP USD short, where we can clearly see here that this green phase was the impulsive phase in towards the downside. Within that overall downside push, we formed two little bumps in the road. So we have, for example, the bump in the road over here, and we have the other bump in the road over here. So these two X's, we can clearly see that the first time we took out the X, we saw a 200 pip drop, and now once again we've taken out the second X, also liquidity, we've seen another 260 pip drop. Now the difference between this green zone that we had over here and the current green zone is that inside the current green zone we've seen a bearish daily structure shift. Okay, and what I mean with a bearish daily structure shift is the fact that the overall daily time frame shifted fractal bearish. Okay, so if we look here at this piece of price action, what you can see is that we get a push up. What caused this overall internal break to take place? This low over here. So that now means that we see a push up, we see a push down, we see a push up, and now we see a push down, meaning that here we have a fractal break of structure. And that now means that this here is the buy before the sell. So that now means that not only is the daily swing structure bearish from this high in towards this low, also the fractal structure is bearish as well. So now it makes sense to look for a potential short position further in towards the downside here on GBP USD based on what I see on the daily time frame. So if I then have the assumption that the dollar index potentially has room to move up higher to take out those descending highs that we have here, what do I then do? I go to a pair like GBPUSD that has the potential to head down lower based on the overall daily market structure. Another pair that also has the potential to drop down lower is, for example, NZD USD. NZD USD, we've been talking about this for a very long time. You can very clearly see that it is within the overall impulsive phase in towards the downside, right? If we look here at the overall market structure that we have on NZD USD, we can see that we have a push down, we have a pullback up, we have a push down, we have a pullback up, we have a push down, we had a pullback up, all the way in towards what? In towards the swing high itself. And since then, again, the overall downside push started after doing what? Remember, we got an internal push up, push down, push up, push down, push up, push down, push up, push down, push up, took out the liquidity, and then it dropped. So what happens is that the order flow simply shifted, and then the market headed down in towards the lows without actually ever retesting that overall area of supply. But now if you look at NZD USD, it looks more kind of like an area of consolidation, right? Like a box where we've taken out the range high, and now it makes sense obviously to move back down towards the range low. So for NZD USD, it only makes sense to look for sells in my personal opinion, based also on market structure. Very simple. Break of structure down, swing high, swing low. We only grabbed liquidity, we didn't close above, so market structure remains bearish, and it makes sense to continue looking for shorts. AUD USD is a little bit different. That one is a lot more bullish. I shared this one on my Instagram story on Monday morning. If we look at the opens indicator, again, guys, for nobody who knows how to use the opens indicator, you can go to the opens indicator, type in daily, weekly, monthly, yearly opens by SBTNC, load in the indicator, and what you're going to see here is the free monthly open. Now, the free monthly open is a critical area of support and resistance for AUD USD. You can just see it smooching with it every single time and time again. You guys who are often here in the streams know that that free monthly level is a key or critical level where the market is very likely to interact. Now, what we can see here is that AUD USD interacted with that free monthly open level. And what did it give us at the free monthly open level? Not only was there obviously equal lows here to the left, which acted as liquidity. Furthermore, we also saw a clear market structure shift in the form of a fractal break in towards the upside. Now, from that moment onwards, what does that mean? It means that here the sell before the buy, and it's again not the cleanest break, but that is now in control. And now we've seen another fractal break in towards the upside. Also, again, demand is in control. So now the overall order flow is resting on this sell before the buy over here, and the market should continue pushing up higher on AUD USD from here. Based on what? Well, based on the market structure, since that we have impulse up and that we're now in the corrective phase. We've now taken liquidity, we're tracing the free monthly open, and it makes sense for AUD USD to continue pushing up higher. Now, some other pairs, guys, because those are then the major dollar pairs that we checked in on. GBP USD is the only one that I didn't yet discuss. So GBP USD, well, at least on the lower time frame. So for GBP USD, based on what I see on the daily time frame, I'm obviously looking for kind of like a short position. We've retraced now into the daily supply zone and we've made a tap, but now we need the lower time frame confirmation. Now this morning PMI, which is data on manufacturing, came in worse than expected for the pound. That caused an initial dump in towards the downside with this strong bearish candle over here. Now, I never really like these areas of supply as this because there's no liquidity in the overall push down. So I just prefer for the high itself now to get swiped. I'm not really looking for a short position from that area of supply. When it comes to the 4-hour time frame or the 1-hour time frame, I tend to look at liquidity and how we grab that. So when I look, I just look for very simply said bumps in the road. So here we have a little bump in the road, and here we pretty much have a bump in the road. So all I'm looking for is for around this liquidity high or this liquidity high, manipulation to take place, and then for us to potentially look for a short position. Now, I don't really like the price action that we've received here on this overall swing high. You can see it's just very choppy. What you just want to see is a clean change of character and then momentum come into the markets, showing that there is a clear area of supply here. So for now, I prefer GBP USD a lot higher to come into this high, and then again there, I'll wait for the change of character and then I'll take a high probability short. Why is that a higher probability area than also to go short? Because if we look here at the overall 4-hour market structure, let's say we had a breakdown here, right? So we had a breakdown, then we have a break up here, then we have another break up here, and then we have a breakdown here. So the overall market structure, let's say, is push down, pull back, push down, and then we get a push up, push down, push up, and then we break down again. So that would mean that the 4-hour swing is bearish. And then if we draw in the premium versus discount tool, you can see that the 0.5 pretty much aligns with that liquidity high that we have over here. So that would, for me, be the ideal potential short position for GU, and not necessarily anymore from current location, just because of the way that price is moving within that overall liquidity high. You want to go in, you want to go out, you want to see momentum come into the markets, and that's just not really there with GBP USD at the moment. So that's kind of like my view on those major dollar pairs. Let's have a look at some other pairs that we've been talking about quite a lot. One of the main pairs that we've been talking about is NZD JPY. Now, if you've been here in the live stream for the past 2 weeks, you know that we've been talking a lot about NZD JPY, which was just so clean, guys, based on the 4-hour time frame. Again, I think that this is really one of the best plays that we've been calling out for the past few weeks, where we can clearly see the overall immediate downtrend, right? So we have the overall push down, the overall pull back, the overall push down, the overall pull back, and then the overall push back down started. Now, again, we load in the opens indicator, and what do you see? You see that yearly and that 3 monthly level, again, act as a natural barrier of resistance that in the end has kind of like the steam, or has the strength to push NZD JPY further in towards the downside. So this was absolute key and critical price action. Again, what do I look at? I look at, let's say, my basic confluences to trade this market, right? So the first thing that I look at here is market structure. So what is market structure? Market structure is bearish. I'm just going to break this down from the naked kind of like chart for you guys. what I look at is the market structure being bearish. So here we have a breaker structure in towards the downside. That then means that this here is your swing high, this here is your swing low. Now, next to that, we then understand that this here is the impulsive phase in towards the downside. Now, whenever you look at an impulsive phase of the market, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking at the bumps in the road. So what we had here was a bump in the road, and that should then act as liquidity. So before taking out this bump in the road, I'm not really interested in looking for shorts, only until it takes out this bump in the road. That is then my liquidity confluence ticked off. So here we have market structure. Then the overall kind of like pullback phase starts in towards the highs. And I'm just looking to time the overall next, let's say, push in towards the downside, right? That was kind of like the next thing that I was looking for, to time the next impulsive phase. So we have the I phase, the impulsive phase, then we have the P phase, the pullback phase, and I was just waiting for the impulsive phase to start. So when does the overall impulsive phase in towards the downside start? We look for kind of like two things for that to start. We look for one, we need lick to be taken, and then number two is we need like a change of character to be taken, and then number three, which is a good confluence, is like a yearly open or a free monthly open. Now in this particular example of NZD JPY, we had it all to understand that the next impulsive phase was ready, because we can clearly see here that the free monthly open perfectly aligned together with the yearly open with that internal liquidity high. So we had the liquidity, we had the yearly / free monthly open, and then we come in towards there, and somebody indeed in the comment section is saying it really well. We have kind of like the 1, 2, 3, so that the squeezing formation, and this is the best possible price action that you want coming into a high probability reversal area. We have the 1, we have the 2, we have the 3, and then price just tends to sell off in towards the downside. And then the overall confluence that you then want to be using is the fractal structure break, to then understand that price was ready to sell off. Now here we had the first kind of like selling opportunity that you could have taken. Again, if you then take these kind of setups, I don't really recommend taking them with such a tight stop loss. You might as well just place your stop loss here, because the overall impulsive phase should be all the way back down towards a new lower low, or you can kind of like target it for a 1 to 2 risk to reward. But then what you saw is that the price also came into this refined supply zone, and then once you get the change of character in towards the downside there, that is pretty much where you really want to be getting in on the overall order flow. Might as well just put the stop loss above the highs, and then at its peak here you can see that you were up around 2.5%. So some great RR here on NZD JPY, so congratulations if you took that. That was a great trade. Looking at the yen basket as well, just to support that overall trade idea, the yen basket has been moving like absolute dog shit. It looks bullish, yes, but at the same time there are still a lot of liquidity lows open here at the lows, right? Especially like at least this low is kind of like the real low that you want to see get taken out before kind of like a real reversal to take place on the Japanese yen when it comes down to liquidity. So again, as well, if we look at like a sell before the buy, this is where the sell before the buy is placed. So I don't really see a massive reversal coming on the Japanese yen. However, what was nice was that obviously the yearly open has been supporting the Japanese yen basket, which has been supporting the overall bias of an NZD JPY short in towards the downside. However, I would be careful with holding NZD JPY all the way down towards the lows, because once the New Zealand dollar starts getting some strength, this is not a very strong demand zone where NZD JPY, or excuse me, where the yen basket is currently in. So yeah, let's see. So enough talking. Let's dive into some of your questions. Let's see. So Dan is asking, Fab, you're using AUD USD as a counterbalance to Euro odd. Why is AUD USD good for long? The confluences on AUD USD are not much different to Euro AUD. In fact, AUD USD doesn't fit the premium versus discount tool. To be very honest, I'm not that experienced with Euro AUD. The thing with Euro AUD is that it's a lot more consolidative at the moment, whereas the dollar has quite a lot more momentum. Like Euro AUD, I just view here from kind of like a more range perspective, where we've taken out the high and we've taken out the low over here, and now we're just trading back kind of like in no man's land. That's kind of like the thing that I have with Euro AUD. Euro AUD is somewhat like NZD USD at the moment, where you can kind of like have this price action where you're, let's say, stuck in a box and you've just rated the overall high and now you're trading it back down towards the low. If I look at AUD USD, I see much more of an immediate short-term trend here on the 4-hour time frame. If I just go back to Euro AUD here on the 4-hour time frame, for me it's, yeah, again, a lot more kind of like in an immediate range as opposed to what AUD USD has been doing as of recent. But that's just my opinion. but I could be wrong. Gold, guys, gold is really like not that complicated. I'm just going to give you guys some alpha insider info. Just buy gold. Don't really think about it. No financial advice, obviously. Like, gold goes to 4,000, nobody fucking knows, right? It's bullish, so you don't want to be shorting this. I've been saying it pretty much every single market outlook. Just look for manipulation on the low, just look for reaccumulation, and then you just pretty much want to go long. Like, for myself, the most recent gold buy opportunities were pretty much over here where we liquidated this blue dotted line, and then the second opportunity again to go long was pretty much inside of here where we saw some manipulation happen. But that's pretty much been it. For the rest, there's not really any other opportunities to buy gold. What you need to wait for again is just for a liquidation event to happen. Yeah, the last event happened over here that I highlighted on the 23rd of September. What day is today? 23rd of September, lol. Huh? Is this last night? Yeah, this is last night. Yeah, so this is last night. So let me this is Monday. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm confused with the price action, but what you want to do with gold, you just want to wait for it to kind of like give a fake move and then kind of continue up higher. So that's what I'm pretty much just waiting for every single time here on gold to happen. So you would like to see, for example, now again, another bullish impulse during New York, and then throughout the Asian session, for example, mark this out as liquidity low, wait then for tomorrow morning for it to fake on the low, and then you just go for long again. That's what you just pretty much need to be looking for on gold. You just need to see those kind of like fake moves. Now, obviously, gold here is ranging, waiting for New York open. It doesn't really make sense to look and trade this at the current price action instead of just looking for a buy. But at some point in time, there is going to be again a big liquidation event stopping everybody out. But what you're kind of seeing over here is just very similar to here. So if you ask me, yeah, gold, what to do with gold? Yeah, you have to buy it. That's the only kind of thing that I can say. And then based on my strategy and the way that I trade, I just need to wait for liquidation to happen. Now, what I want is liquidation pretty much at least on the 1 hour time frame. So what I'll just be waiting for again is, like I just said, maybe another impulse up throughout New York, and then I would mark out this as my liquidity low, and then tomorrow morning we take the low, and then boom, we, for example, push back up higher again. Look at GU. Yeah, so GU is doing what we just mentioned. Yeah, what do you want me to say? I'm expecting this for kind of like the immediate short term to continue pushing up higher. I would like it to continue pushing up higher, and what I want it to do is move towards this blue line over here. So I wouldn't short it at the moment. Again, what we mentioned at the beginning of this stream happened. The overall supply zone is just not a strong supply zone, this one over here, and a lot of people make that mistake. Like, even though it did take out this liquidity high to the left, there's no liquidity in the push down itself, and you always kind of like at least want to see a little bump in the road within the impulse down, because otherwise it will just come back up to kind of like take everybody out. So either it will just start selling off from here, but I assume that it's just going to continue pushing up higher towards that next liquidity high that we have up here higher. So that's kind of it for GBPUSD at the immediate moment. Hope some of you were able to prevent yourself from taking any losses there on the GU short. Now another pair is AUD CAD. If you guys are signed up to the newsletter, you had the potential to take some AUD CAD longs. Congratulations if you're in that position. We shared it over the weekend. Did everybody receive that newsletter? Let me know in the comments. Hope you guys did, because it moved up nicely. We can clearly see here that we have an imbalance. Right about that imbalance, we have some bump in the road. Not the best or ideal bumps in the road, but I mean, there is some liquidity. We took that liquidity, and then obviously here 4 hour change of character happened, and then Rucker shared from a fundamental perspective in the newsletter why he was looking for that AUD CAD pump from a fundamental perspective. And yeah, as you can see, broke, and then this is then demand, retests demand with the overall wick, and then it continues pushing up higher. So overall, I think a nice overall 1 to 2 risk to reward or so that got hit on this. So yeah, make sure to read those newsletters, because that's where we share some good alpha. It was an easy 1 to 2 risk to reward. If you're not in it, you can check, or you can sign up by joining here. It's on the tradingacademy.com/discord. That's where you can sign up for the newsletter. I think it's pinned in here in the chat, by the way. But if you sign up there, then you'll get these kind of like fundamental updates and pretty much update on what we've been looking at, what we've been trading. So yeah, congratulations if you've been looking at that position. ADCHF longs. Let's have a look. So I would not really be a big fan of trading ADCHF longs at the moment. What I see here is... what I see here is that we're pretty much in the middle of the range. Again, these are not like my favorite pairs personally to trade. this is again what you see where we liquidate the overall range low, we liquidate the overall range high. So we just move from the low to the high back towards the middle of the range. What happens in the middle of the range? We consolidate. You can clearly see there's kind of like this little area of resistance here. And if I were to draw in a range trading tool and use the 75 and the 25% fib level, what you're going to see here is that we reject the 75 level. So I kind of want to be buying from a little bit lower on ADCHF before really getting into buys, is what I kind of see from here. I would mark this out as a liquidity low, and then once we get there, maybe I'll look for a buy again once we see some momentum return. But yeah, not really looking to get involved with buys at these current levels. The 3 monthly level is here, yes, so it could push up, but it's not ideal in my personal opinion. Let's see, but that means that EURUSD should be pushing if GU is pushing. Yeah, not too strong at the moment. Yeah, so for EURUSD, I was waiting, to be honest, for that bump in the road to get taken out. And with that bump in the road, I mean this one more specifically. That's what I was waiting for this morning. I wanted to see a little bit of a deeper retracement before looking for a long position back in towards the highs. It could already go from here as we have retraced into this demand zone here. So if the New York momentum comes in and the 3 monthly open does what it should do, the market should continue pushing up higher. But I just love I love liquidating the bumps in the road. So for me, it would just be ideal to look for this and then get that next push up there on EURUSD. More GBPUSD shorts. Yes, so GBPUSD is a good one as well. I think there's a potential for a skill in on this position overall. Just going back towards the 4-hour time frame, looking at GBPUSD here, we can see, and let me just turn off the indicator. We can see here that the momentum is definitely in towards the downside in the immediate to short term, right? So we can clearly see that market has been trending down lower and lower. I don't really need to go too much into detail market structure, but let's say we get a push up, push down, push up, and then push down, push up, push down, push up, push down, push up, and now we're just looking for the next push down. When it comes to looking then at the impulsive phase, we've had an impulsive phase in towards the lows here. So then what's the next step? The next step is identifying the bumps in the road. So for example, here we have a little bump in the road, and here we have a bump in the road, and here itself. So there's pretty much 3 regions from where I was looking for potential short. So at current region, it is interesting. We have seen here the 4-hour change of character after breaking this low over here, and then we broke the low again. Now this currently is supply and control that pushed the market down lower. Now internally we broke this low again, so yeah, I'm looking for more downside continuation here on GBPUSD, with this being the buy before the sell that is in control to potentially push the market down lower. It's not the strongest of supply zones because there's not really any bump in the road, but you can see that this here is the liquidity. If you look at the 5-minute time frame, it is a nice bump in the road. So let's see if GA, maybe this could be a nice little scalp here where we have this little internal trend broken. If we break this low, then I'll be looking for some more downside. So focus on this as now kind of like the next supply zone. Now I don't trade the 5-minute time frame. I don't really encourage it, but that is a position that I would be monitoring myself, looking here at GBPUSD. And it does make sense to continue selling off. So yeah, with that supply zone on the 1-hour time frame being in control, I do assume that we will see a further downside push, and this is kind of like the next drive lower that I want to see here for GA. So let's see if that 5-minute time frame low can break, and then the overall continuation towards the downside should take place. For AUD JPY, we're seeing currently an upside push. Potential AUD JPY longs seems like it's already played out. Well, guys, you can see it again. The yearly level does its thing. Wow. Again, well, guys, I don't need to explain too much about these open levels, but you can see it. If you're not using it, you are definitely missing out. That is absolute beautiful scenes here. Forex King, there's so many videos on the channel. Just please don't be too stupid by asking here, explain the strategy. What do you think I'm doing this entire video? Go to the channel, and again, if you're going to spam, I'm just going to block you from being able to talk. Looking here, we can see here that the overall sell for the buy is in control at the moment. That's currently what's been pushing the market up higher. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for the market to continue. I see here a clear uptrend where if we look at the market itself, we can see that we've got a break of structure up. We've got another break of structure up. Then this here is the overall swing low. This is the overall swing high. Obviously, you would prefer for the market to retrace in towards the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level when we look at this from premium versus discount perspective. But looking at the opens indicator, you can clearly see that the yearly open here is acting as a level of support to push the market potentially up higher. So it makes sense to continue. When we look here at the 4-hour time frame, again, we have the overall impulsive phase, right? So with the overall impulsive phase, we look at, let's say, this in towards the upside. More specifically on the 4-hour time frame, I would be looking at, let's say, this here. Now, within this overall impulse up, there's a few bump in the roads that we look at, right? So we look at, for example, this one here, or we look at, for example, this one over here, which aligns perfectly with the yearly open as well. Now, when we then see that the market starts to retrace, a lot of people obviously start going long from kind of like this demand zone. We see a fake push up and then it just heads down lower. Now, what's happened here is that we're starting to form a clear area of support. So I would be looking for an overall upside push. EURUSD is exploding. Let's see. Have you ever talked about the logic behind these opens? Oh, guys, what do you mean EURUSD is exploding? 14 pip push, brother. I thought there was a real big push. Have you ever talked about the logic behind these opens? Yeah, so obviously it's a place where market orders are put in, and that should be a natural area where the market should open. Well, 1 second. That's obviously a key level where the market opens, because there's a reason why the market closes. And like at a specific level, such as the 3 monthly open, or for example at the yearly open, this is a moment where the bigger institutions are forced to close their positions. So for example, at the end of the quarter, they need to close their book, so they start offloading positions, but they want to reopen positions at that specific level in the future, and hence why the market then will also in the future likely react to these levels, because this is for a reason where they had to close previous positions, where they're very likely to open these positions again. But you can clearly see here, even on EURUSD on the 15-minute time frame, again, like it's really kissing that 3 monthly open level time and time again. It's just beautiful to see. Now let's see. I'm also looking for AU to continue up higher. Man, it's flying. Good stuff. Yeah, this is really good. Shared this shared this yesterday. Nice, good to see. Let's have a look, guys. I need a trade from you. Let's see. GBPUSD, not yet. Pushing, needs to break. What are the other pairs, guys? GJ market is like yeah, they don't give a damn about those interest rates. GJ, man, GJ is like one of those slow burners, man. It's like a little devil. Like you keep trying to short it, but it just keeps chopping up higher. GJ has just been so rangy. It's definitely not a pair that I've been looking to trade. You can just see it's so messy. It just keeps chopping up a little bit higher time and time again. I wouldn't really want to trade that. I would be focusing more on like a USD indeed. Like USD gave us some nice price action. Again, within an overall, let's say, daily impulsive phase. With here the supply zone being in control, you can clearly see supplies in control. We have the overall supply in control. We have the overall daily fractal that is bearish. We have the monthly open there as well. We have the free monthly open here as well. And guys, please listen. I didn't. Somebody in the comment section was saying I don't give a damn about interest rates. It's not me saying that. I was just repeating what was being said. So for USD, yeah, I mean, downside makes sense. Obviously, the overall trend is in towards the downside. So yeah, you're an idiot if you try and long this, because why would you want to fight the overall trend, right? When the overall trend is clearly bearish. So yeah, just don't waste your time on trying to long it. Obviously, if you have a strategy that makes sense to look for longs, be my guest. But yeah, if I look at this, it's obviously in towards the downside as you're making, in the clearest form, lower lows and lower highs. I don't really need to explain 101 of trading, but lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So what do we expect? That there's going to be a new lower low. Is it going to manipulate one more time? Definitely possible. So let's just see what happens. But for now, 4-hour fractal structure is in control. It's bearish. The 3 monthly open is pushing market down, so it makes sense to continue to look for shorts, I guess. Look at USD JPY. I talked about this morning on the market outlook as well. I mean, this long position that I have drawn in here was the only position that really made sense from a technical perspective. If we look at USD JPY and we draw in the range, right? So this is the range trading tool again that I use. If you want to use the settings, you can copy them here, 75, 25. percent level is what I look at. You can clearly see that the 25% level pushes market up higher, and the shorts are the 75% level. Now we nearly kissed that 75% level, so maybe it will push down a little bit lower, but personally I would only be looking for shorts if we push up a little bit higher and then look for a short position. So I want to be looking for shorts inside this region over here, but not from the current region. And then the buys obviously took place after liquidating this overall low here, and then once the low got liquidated, you got the 4-hour change of character. So yeah, from that moment onwards, pretty much the overall longs made sense. Yeah, sure, I'll do a video on how to identify the daily bias. Guys, what do you want me to be, what do you want the next long form educational video here on the channel to be about? Drop some topics that you guys would love to see me create videos on. That for me is the most important. Like, do you want to see me just doing trade breakdowns of trades that I took, or would you prefer to see, for example, a backtesting session, or like a 40-minute backtesting session and me just uploading that over like a raw backtesting session? Or would you like to see like more videos on like indeed how to identify daily buys, how to identify market structure, how to identify supply and demand, these kind of things? Yeah, EURUSD is just bullish, man. Like what can I say? I'm not really looking for a short on this. Just continue to look for further upside continuation trades is what I'm pretty much looking at. Yeah, for me it's bullish, so it just makes sense. Your strategy. What does it mean to have a trading strategy? What does it consist of? That is a pretty kind of like a blurry topic. What does it mean to have a trading strategy? But I can do it, but maybe I need to smoke a joint before and be a little bit high. Backtesting. Okay, so a lot of you want to see how I do the backtesting and then a daily bias. Okay, so daily bias and backtesting, those are kind of like the two main videos. Your daily bias are goated. Thanks, brother. Appreciate a lot. Yeah, Euro GBP. Let's have a look. So Euro GBP is currently moving down again a bit. The thing with Euro GBP for me is like it's been stuck well inside of this area of range for quite a long time now. For myself, what I'm looking at is just this to be kind of like the overall consolidation range that we have. It's currently at the 75% level, so it makes sense to maybe give another sell-off in towards the downside. It took out some liquidity above this high over here, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it sells off a bit again. But just keep in mind that kind of like the immediate market structure is pretty bullish. So the higher time frame or the higher probability trade will come after really breaking internal market structure, which is pretty much this piece of market structure here. It already gave a 4-hour fractal break at the top, but it's not really my cup of tea. I would kind of like wait for the black line to break, retest the 75, and then trade it back towards the 25% level. Is pretty much what I would look for. There's a guide for fundamentals in the Discord. Indeed, inside the Discord, guys, there's a fundamental guide. GU is pushing a little bit higher, but not too interesting. GBP AUD slow still. US 30. US 30. US 30. Yeah, so US 30, what do I need to say again? Like US 30 is like gold, guys. What do you wait for? You wait for manipulation to happen. So what you want to see every single time happening is, like, for example, when you have a demand zone over here, you simply wait for the initial reaction to demand, and then you use that as liquidity to fuel the next real push up. For the rest, that just means that if this is demand, you wait for the pullback, and then you just wait for the liquidation, and then you go long again. That's just what you need to look for every single time. It's pretty much as simple as that. Like, again, as well over here, if this is like your overall sub for the buy, there's no liquidity in the overall push up. So what do you wait for? You wait for the initial reaction to be your liquidity low. Liquidity gets taken and you fuel the next move up. No rocket science. It's really pretty much as simple as that. If we see a push up, look for a little bump in the road in that push up, wait for that to be liquidated, and then the next push up can happen. It's pretty much as simple as that. So the same goes for US 30. What you want to see now happening then is for the market to do what? You want it to do what I just said, where it retraces into the market over here, where we come into the sub for the buy, and then what you want to happen or have happening here is take out this low and then look for the next buy up. That's pretty much what I'll be waiting for. Yeah, AUD USD is a good long, man. I would just look for further upside. I'm happy to take pretty much this upside push here on AU as a trade back up towards this high for like a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Let's see what happens on that side of things. If that 3-month level can push up, and then I would hedge it once GU gets into an area of interest. But AUD USD seems like a short-term good buy. Is Forex good for a general savings account? I want an account that makes interest but easy to get a hold of the money in emergencies. Yeah, I'm Michael. I guess it depends on what broker you're using. But yeah, no, ADCHF makes sense for me with the overall double fractal breaking towards the upside, with the 3-monthly level open, acting as a key level of support as well. I'm looking for this to continue. And for the rest, GBPUSD is short-term up. But I don't see this as a high probability long. Then I would trade AUD USD long as opposed to that idea. So I think AUD USD is kind of like the immediate kind of like better play, or EURUSD. So EURUSD, what you're looking for here is for example, this long position over here. So this is kind of like the long position that I'm currently looking at, or from this low over here. Depending on how the market reacts. Obviously the lower demand zone over here, that's the higher probability play, as we have a nice liquidity low and the monthly open. But looking at the 1 hour time frame for EURUSD, I would also like for this trade here to play out. So these are kind of like the two trade ideas that I have at the moment on EURUSD. So I'm waiting for either one, and then once this low gets taken out, I'll wait for the 1 hour change of character to take place, maybe on the weekly open, and then you can take maybe like a tighter stop loss, and then you see that already within like a smaller range, you can trade back up to the 3-month level and maybe take like a 1 to 2 risk to reward. So yeah, Euro needs to sell off a little bit more for myself before EURUSD can kind of like give me any long positions. AUD USD seems more ready for a next upside push, so yeah, I would keep an eye on that potential long. Once it retraces into that 4 hour demand zone, keep an eye on the 1 hour time frame, what it gives. Because at the moment, what I see happening is that we're just building liquidity. We're building a little bump in the road here, where this is the strong impulse up, little pullback, little push up. This here is the liquidity low. Let's liquidate that, get the 1 hour change of character, and then we can look for a long again. So that's what I would look for AUD USD. So Matty, I don't know where you should place your stop loss on AUD USD. Like, that's up to you. I'm not a signal provider. I'm just sharing my idea. So my idea is to look for potential long if we take out the liquidity and then get a 1 hour change of character. And then depending on how the 1 hour change of character takes place, you can either use the big stop loss or use a smaller stop loss. But I would like be safe, just place a stop loss underneath the 3-monthly open, as that's a strong level of support. Fabio, what do you think about EURUSD being on the monthly supply and demand? Took out bumps in the road and grabbing liquidity inside the supply and demand zone. Like I just explained EURUSD in full detail. I don't really think it needs further explaining. It's pretty very clear what I want to see. I want to see this bump in the road gets taken out, because this here for me is the overall 1 hour impulse, and then this here is the bump in the road. That needs to get taken out. Once that gets taken out, I can look for long. Otherwise, not really. Does AD react to gold? Yeah, I mean, higher gold prices are good for the Australian dollar, because the Australian dollar relies heavily on metals. And like copper prices, silver prices, gold prices, but it's not like, oh, gold goes up, so AUD USD is going to fly now. Gold we already discussed. Another good position that's been playing out recently is silver. Obviously, silver just continues to rally in towards the highs. I think silver is also one of the best examples of recent really clean price action, where you can see how I refer to kind of like those liquidation longs. If we see here on the daily time frame, for example, that this is kind of like your sub for the buy up at the time, you want to be looking for a long inside of that demand zone, right? So this here is your demand zone that is in control, and then inside of that demand zone we can look for a long. So what you then do is you go to the 4 hour time frame, and on the 4 hour time frame you see here we have, for example, break of structure. So let's say this here is your swing up, and this here is the premium versus discount tool. Okay, market retraces back down into discount pricing. That then means that this here is a bump in the road. This here is a bump in the road. So I'm looking pretty much for a long from one of either zones, because this here is a demand zone over here, and this here is a demand zone over here. So then what happens, price comes into that, and then you can see it comes into the lower demand zone, and then once it comes into that lower demand zone, that means that this here is the 1 hour change of character, and then on the 1 hour change of character high, that's pretty much where you could get into a buy. And then back up towards the overall highs, and then from there the overall market continues, retraces down one more time, even close to the overall stop loss. Let's see what happens, but then eventually heads up higher again. Let's see, did it give like a 4 hour change of character? No, not really. 2 hour, yeah, it gave like a 2 hour change of character, but not the cleanest price action. But like on the 1 hour time frame, if you would have used that as an area of demand, that could have been a nice long position to take. And then since there, it's just been consuming its overall rally. So this is a good example of what I'm referring to with, like, you need these kind of like liquidation events to fuel the next leg up. So when you look at kind of like the current price action on silver, what would you then mark out as your liquidity? That would be this low over here, for example, and then you would mark out this here as your kind of like demand zone. So if silver were to retrace throughout today's London session, or New York session, excuse me, or Asian session, then I would need to see it drop towards this liquidity low and then give me the change of character to then look for a long position. So that's a potential position that I would be looking for on silver. Not everyone values this. Some even act rude. Some are acting entitled when this should be thousands of dollars worth of content you're giving. Thank you so much. Of course, Raven, I appreciate the comment. Means the world, man. Means the world. Yeah. Really means the world. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, guys, if you could just leave a like again on the stream, that really means the world. 200 likes, fantastic, guys. Really appreciate all of you. USD CAD, yeah, USD yen we already discussed. USD yen is like in a no trading zone at the moment. Guys, is silver more tradable than gold? Not necessarily. USD CAD is similar to USD yen, where it's stuck in a range pretty much. I don't really like trading it from current levels. What I'm seeing though is that we did take out this little liquidity high. So this is like a little bump in the road that got taken out. So I mean, there is some potential for USD CAD to sell off. The only thing with USD CAD is, again, like, I'm sticking to the extremes, so I would want it to push up a little bit higher. Gold, we already discussed. Mira, I'm just gonna really, yeah, okay guys, Mira is gonna go to the gulag. That person is timed out. Sit in the corner and sit down. Appreciate you if you just ask normal questions, guys. Yeah, for GU, so GU now made a connection with this supply zone. The thing is with this supply zone, like, I've seen these supply zones work, but the probability is just really lower as opposed to when you take out the whole kind of like bump in the road. So really, like, if you maybe see like a 1 hour change of character again come underneath that monthly open level, that's when the short could play out. But I'm not going to short from this supply zone just by setting a sell. I would really only wait for this blue line to get out, or for the overall fractal low to break, and then look for the short position. But otherwise I wouldn't be getting in. Fabio, do you use any trading stop strategies, or do you often feel your trades hit your top profit target? I mainly use like a 1 to 2 or 1 to 2.5 risk to reward at the moment. Not really trading stops, if I'm honest. More focusing on kind of like the 1 to 2, 1 to 2.5 risk to reward. How do you determine supply and demand zones? I have a video about that on the channel. I'll release a new video on it. But I mean, the simplest and easiest way is just to look for something called a buy before the sell. That's the easiest way. Just look for buy before the sell down, or sell before the buy up. As simple as that. So yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for some development on EURUSD. I think the trade closest to kind of like providing an entry would be AUD USD. If it does manipulate and then give fractal confirmation, I think that could be a potential trade to play out. For the rest, I mean, NZD JPY, potential continuation, but I think, like, yeah, the safe move has already taken place. From here on, it only gets more risky to be inside of it. So congrats if you did profit on NZD JPY. And for the rest, obviously, gold and silver continuation longs. Thank you so much, Sean. Really not needed, but appreciate you highly, man. It means a lot. Thank you so much. Yeah, are there any other questions, guys? Any questions like more directly related to a specific trade that you might be in? How do you decide to trade the 1 or the 4 hour, the 15? Just choose one and just stick to it. Yeah, thanks, Michelle. That's a good point. Guys, if you need more information on like these concepts or how to trade, just join the Discord. There's a whole resources channel there with everything that you need to know. Fabio, do you make something from YouTube? Yes, I think it's around $400 a month for something, $500 a month. Yeah, I won't win the war with that, sadly. I won't win the war with that. I'm in gold. I want to know what's the possibility of a retracement. I have no idea, Surreal. Just wait for a retracement to happen, and if it happens, then you act on it. As simple as that. Do you have any prop firms that you recommend? Yes, the trading pits. Link to the trading pit can be found inside Discord, or you can use the discount code TTA10 and then you get a 10% discount. How long do you usually sit in a trade? Anywhere between around 4 days to 6 days. That's kind of like my average holding time at the moment. EuroCAD long at 50%. Could be. EuroCAD obviously bullish. Yeah, you want to be looking for continuations. EuroCAD is a good example of look for liquidation and then go long. So for example, this here is a liquidity low. Wait for that low to get taken out, or look for this low to get taken out over here. And once those lows get taken out and you see a change of character, then you can look for a long position. As simple as that. Fambia, could you look at NZD USD for the next re-entry? Yes, Ruvon, you can join the Discord through the pinned comment here in the channel, or in the chat, excuse me, or in the description of this video. NZD USD is a bit complicated for a re-entry at the moment. I don't think it's very clean price action wise, but I would be looking at this here, or this high here, or this high here. So one of these three highs, wait for those to get taken out, wait for it to manipulate, and then for order flow to continue back in towards the downside. So you would want to see some short-term bullish price action, change of character, and then you could look for a short again. As simple as that. Yeah. Should I be in your AUD USD, or am I too early? I just broke down AUD USD. You can just scroll back on the video, guys. Yeah, guys, thanks so much for leaving a like on today's video. Thank you for being here today. Yeah, I'm waiting for some trades to kind of like come. As I said, I haven't really been trading since the second week of September, because the first week of September and the second week were already good enough. So I already kind of like already made my monthly target. So I'm just only trying to pass some challenges, and I'm mainly going to be doing that with AUD USD. If you want to sign up to the newsletter, check out the pinned comment here in the chat. And without further ado, yeah, miss you all and love you all, and thanks for being here. And make sure to join the Discord, because that's where I'm active, and if you need help, just tag me there. I try to answer all questions, or as many questions as possible. And yeah, guys, just thanks for being here again, and I'll see if I can do the live session on Thursday, as I'll be in Italy. But otherwise, I'll do a live session inside Discord, as that's just a little bit easier and more reliable than YouTube, because YouTube, I cannot really just stream with one screen. I kind of like need to have a second screen. When you don't make money, join the Discord. Yes, DP, good point. Thanks, guys, appreciate you all. Ciao, and thanks for joining. Thanks a lot, appreciate it.